In this video I have a very interesting guest, Davide, from an agency that provides services to big brands and to smaller brands on Amazon. We're talking about rankings, about tactics the Chinese sellers are going through, predictions for Amazon, and trends in 2021, and many more. This is one of the best videos that I made recently, so make sure that you watch the entire video because you'll have a lot of value here. Now, before we are getting into the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and leave a comment I subscribed so I can personally reply to your comments. Now, we are going back to the giveaways. If you remember, a couple of months ago I started these giveaways that for every person that leave a comment and let me know why we deserve to get a one-on-one free coaching call with me. And after in the next video I will announce the winner of the free one-on-one coaching call. So in order to participate, make sure that you leave a comment down below with a little about you and why you deserve to get the one-on-one coaching call, and I will choose the best comment. So let's start with the video. Alright guys, we have a new guest today. In today's video, Davide Nicolucci. I pronounce it well, Davide?
Almost. Nicolucci. Nicolucci.
Okay,
Yeah.
Davide Nicolucci. It's like a name that should be on a perfume or some
You
clothing
are,
designer.
yeah. Yesterday I was recording with Amy Ruiz, and she
Okay.
referred to me as Davide Gucci. So
Yeah, it's a very cool name. I like it. So he's from
thanks.
We Are Growth Hack, an agency that help sellers. I will let him explain about it in more depth. So I think last week you released your Amazon predictions and trends for 2021. I was also part of it. I'm sure we
Yes.
can talk about predictions and what you think about 2021. But for those that don't really know you, why don't you share a little about yourself, how you got into Amazon, and then we can just have a little chat about some important, like very interesting topics.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you very much for having me here. Um, so I'm originally from Italy, and I've been doing digital marketing since 2010. I started off as social media manager, and then I moved more into e-commerce and SEO. And in 2014, I from Europe I moved in China. I was working at that time with Sun Valley Tech, that was one of the top sellers on Amazon, and between top 3 or top 5 from China at that time, sellers on Amazon from China. And probably some of you know some of their brands such as Raf Power or Tautronics, Hutu, and other brands. So I was working in marketing with them, and I that really opened a lot of doors for me to understanding how Amazon works and how Chinese sellers approach this business on Amazon, because they're actually quite good on Amazon. I worked with Sun Valley Tech for 1 year, and then I worked as actually was upgraded with another company, one of their competitors, as marketing director. That was until 2016, and then I just quit the job and I launched my own Amazon consulting agency for Amazon sellers in Hong Kong. At that time, it was the first consulting agency for sellers in Hong Kong, for Amazon sellers in Hong Kong. And yeah, I've been doing this since 2017, and it's going pretty well. So I we help mid-size to large-size sellers, but definitely sometimes we also help beginners to launch their products on Amazon. But our core business is more to help sellers who have been there already for a while to scale their business on Amazon, to especially to spend less money, to understand better their ranking and their relevancy score, or how they can optimize their PPC campaign and organic rank. Especially, we're working a lot on that. But yeah, we also offer a full variety of services for sellers. So from product launch to research to ranking to PPC, etc. So this is pretty much what I'm doing.
Yeah, I think that lately you see more and more agencies because it's becoming more and more competitive, and
Yeah,
people can't just be experts in everything. So they
yeah,
either outsource their PPC or their listing optimization or these type of things. Especially when you grow, you can't just do everything. So yeah, check his website, and yeah, the post as well of 2021
yeah.
prediction. We're going to talk about it a little bit, but I didn't really know that you were living in China. Like, for how long did you live there, and
Oh yeah.
how was the
I
experience?
lived in China for a little bit more than 2 years. I moved in China end of 2014 and I left beginning of 2017. So 2 years and a few months and I moved in Hong Kong in 2017. So let's say I've been in China for 5 years because I lived in Hong Kong for 3 years. I launched my agency. Actually, I was the first one in Hong Kong because also Hong Kong is quite expensive. And in 2017, you still didn't have so many Amazon agencies, especially in Asia. I mean, now Amazon agencies, like you said, are popping out everywhere, even in Italy, yeah, everywhere. In Turkey, in Romania, everywhere. So yeah, but at that time, Hong Kong was very expensive. You mostly had, traditional marketing agencies. You didn't even have really growth hacking agencies. But yeah, as our name says, we try to combine growth hacking with Amazon, growing your business on Amazon, using non-traditional ways of doing marketing. So yeah, I've been 5 years in China, let's say 2 in Shenzhen, 3 in Hong Kong. I definitely love China. But for me, due to the circumstances of COVID and a little bit of issues in Hong Kong, it was okay to move here in Thailand, at least for this year. And I mean, I don't know for how long it will be.
Oh, that's very cool that you can work and enjoy like a vacation place like that, like Thailand. I never been, but I really want to
Oh,
be. Yeah,
come
yeah.
over.
One day soon, after this whole thing ends. You mentioned something that really caught my ear about like that Chinese sellers that are quite good in what they do, and I think the consumption here for US sellers that the Chinese sellers don't really know what they're doing. Um, and people think that way, but I think it's wrong, and I think that their attitude is what really important, and we as Amazon US sellers should really look at, because they are not stubborn, but they will keep improving. They have this mentality. They are not really. They look at this as a long-term game.
Yeah.
Um, and I curious to hear from you. Like, what do you think? Why you think they're doing like a good job, and how practically like it comes to what is their practices? Obviously, they have the language barrier. So how they deal
Yeah.
with it? How they operate?
So that's a very, very interesting question, and it's definitely 100% on the spot. And trust me, I've been talking about this topic since 2017. So me and you, we pretty much started talking because you gave me very good content for the article that I made on my website. Okay, and my blog is okay. We have a lot of readers. It's very well targeted, specific. We go very much in depth, and the very first article that I release on my blog is an article that actually unveils the secrets of Chinese sellers. It's a very long article. Yeah, probably someone of you already seen this article. We published it in 2018 when pretty much the world was asking how Chinese sellers are so good. And I know because as a consultant, I was getting this question every day from my potential clients or from my clients. Some of them even invited me to Germany to have a chat for 1 hour. It turned out being 5 hours. So I was taking notes. And then eventually those notes turned out being a blog post of around 10,000 words that I wrote in around 3 months. I did a lot of research. I interviewed a lot of people, and we had this. So probably we can put the link of this later. It's
Yeah,
called the secret. It's called the secrets behind the success of Chinese Amazon sellers. As revealed by the insiders. I was interviewing mostly people who lived in China or who did business with Amazon Chinese sellers from the supplier point of view, from the marketing point of view, and myself having worked in-house in two different Chinese companies. So I shared a lot of information, and I can definitely tell you Chinese people know what they're doing. they have this mentality, this mindset that is full on business. They don't take any rest until they get to number one page. They would work all the time, weekends included. And if they're not working, they're learning how to overtake, other sellers. Language is probably not as much as a barrier right now, because most of the people can speak English pretty much anywhere, or they can outsource, marketing or branding to other agencies, like pretty much mine at the beginning. My first sellers were Chinese sellers. My first clients were Chinese sellers. Now I work more with Western sellers. I'm leaving this part of the business to other agencies that are more present in China. But I started off actually with Chinese clients, and the job was really good. I mean, we have a huge amount of good brands, especially on Amazon, that now are becoming worldwide recognized, that are from China. Let's talk about Anchor, for example, or even Naipo, or Tineco, or all the other brands from Sun Valley. I work with pretty much all of those brands, and they're doing a very good job. So they have a very different and target focused way of approaching business. And I really suggest everyone go read that blog, because it goes very much in the detail. And even though it was published 3 years ago, it's still very, very actual.
I'm
So you
going
can
to read it
understand the
today.
difference.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a very interesting topic. Usually, the Chinese sellers that you met or dealt with, they are the factories themselves, or it's just someone that see the potential and then start to do business like we do from here, from the US.
No, most of the most common business model, by the way, I just send you the article link on Facebook, so later you have it. The most common way, it's a big company with, a lot of money invested in the company, whose biggest objective is to get a really an IPO, like Anchor, like Sun Valley did. And they start putting out as many brands as they can, like one every other month.
Wow.
They would try different categories. They really fluid the market with different brands and different categories. And they have a very different structure. They would divide into different brands or different categories their team members. So it's very interesting to know how their organization works, their human resources work, and not only how they do marketing. And being that they actually are from China, they have a much better relationship with their suppliers. They have, very good supply chain. So they have this kind of advantage. So they have a lower price to start with, because we know that on Amazon, price is very, very important, especially when you're launching your product. Then they definitely have this advantage. They can get a much better price, because we all know, I mean, you're giving a lot of advices on how to source your product. You have to make this relationship with your supplier. Just don't just go on Alibaba and look for the best price or whatever. And also, we have explored a lot their culture of breaking the rules, or using black hat, or using unconventional ways of launching products. So that's also part of the game when you are dealing with Chinese sellers. They also go look for every kind of keyword in every different category. They really break the market. Some Chinese companies are so good that they don't use external tools. They develop the tools in-house, also because they don't want to give data to anyone that might be Jungle Scout or Helium 10. They just develop the tools. They will use the
It's just from
tool.
the beginning, right?
Yeah, they would have different accounts. They would use the tool in one of the accounts, and then they would copy, and they would code their tool, and they would make it themselves. So this is also something very interesting. It's like another level. They really approach this business on a very high level, and they can pretty much launch products as many as they can in different categories. So don't think the Chinese sellers are, only copying you or only trying to take you down. There are, of course, a lot trying to do that, but there is a huge part that is shooting for the long term, shooting for the stars. Definitely, they definitely want to get there. It doesn't matter if they don't make any profit for the first years. Some of the companies I work with, they gave up the profit in order to be number one on Amazon, and that's very, very common for big Chinese companies that sell on Amazon. So this already helps you to understand more about the Chinese culture, on selling on Amazon, on e-commerce in general. Also because you have to understand they come from a background where if they didn't sell on Amazon, they would sell on Taobao or other Chinese platforms. They are super competitive. There are not as many controls as on Amazon. It's pretty much a wild west. So for them, selling on Amazon is actually much better because, they can't sell as much as in China because you make billions of dollars for, Singles Day or whatever, like the Prime Day of China. I think the last time was like $38 billion. I can't remember right now, but it's easier for them to sell on Amazon actually.
That's very interesting. I'm very surprised, with what you said, because again, my way of looking at it is like some like of the people here, like we think that they copy. Of course, you see those brands that stand out, and you know that they know what they're doing. But lately, what I did, I started to get into Chinese forums that are talking about Amazon, and I'm using the Google Translate. Now, obviously, it's not really accurate. You cannot really understand everything, but you get the idea. You see
Yeah.
the way that they talk. You see the way that they approach things. Like you said, a lot of things they talk about black hat because they don't care. No one will really force,
Exactly.
force their account. Even if their account gets suspended, they like open a new one just like that. I think Amazon also want them to be on the platform. Like they encourage them. They give them more tools and infrastructures to make it, because at the end they want to cut the middleman. We are the middlemen here.
Yes,
And,
exactly.
they want to take the prices down, so it's more attractive platform. But any advice that you can give to someone that is outside China, still be competitive, still be on top of the game, and compete with the Chinese sellers that really look long term, and they have more advantages, like the prices, I think more than price, it's the fact that they are there. First of all,
Yeah.
trust. They don't need to build. There is already kind of a trust. I'm sure you come to a factory and you speak Chinese, you're Chinese, you're from the same
Yeah.
city. Of course,
Yeah, exactly.
the
Yeah.
level is much better.
So this is the. I mean, it seems like we planned this conversation, but we didn't because it's going so smooth. And this is actually the natural question that a lot of people ask me. How can I compete? How can I cope up with this? How can I save my ass, from this, bloodbath? I actually wrote a few months later another article on how to defend yourself. So I can just give you the summary of that article. That it's still in the same blog. It's so funny. The name of the article is "War is On: How to Fight, or How to Compete with Illicit Competition," something like that. How to protect yourself. Anyway, and that article is even longer than the first one. I have interviewed a lot of people. I think there is also Kevin King there. He gave me a lot of insights, and other experts. Anyway, yes. So I would say, first of all, you have to understand that this is a real business. So selling on Amazon is not anymore just doing it part-time while you're doing your 9 to 5 job. You could have some luck. Yes, it still happens. For example, as it happened to one of the other contributors to our article for 2021, to Tiffany, she had a very good, outcome just working part-time, but it doesn't normally happen like this anymore. You have to understand how Amazon works. You have to be brand registered, and you have to, have a good lawyer, because that will help. And also you have to know how they could attack you. So for example, go read that article that I published about Black Hat. That is pretty much the same. And also be very, very different, be very creative, or try to differentiate your supply chain. One of the best advices that someone gave me was, for example, don't source all of your products from the same factory. And also, if you have a very complex product, that's better, because it's going to be more complicated to duplicate. If you have something that makes it unique, like a unique material, or that they cannot find in China, or is too expensive to source from China, like something that is made, I don't know, in Italy, in Germany, in the US, that you need to have some certification, then go for that. Try to be very creative and differentiate your products. Don't copy other people, because you're gonna copy the same category where everyone is going. Try to stay on a BSR in a category that is not too low, because otherwise they're going to attack you. They want to have low BSR. They want to make quick money. So try to stay in your competitive niche. Try to make it different. Try to break your supply chain. Have different ways of showing your value. Do a big use of social media, because that will really help. And these are pretty much also good advices for anyone who's starting on Amazon. Also, how to launch a product, be creative, try to see all the tools that you have available on Amazon, protect your brand. It's really important to protect your brand all the time.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. You have to be, it doesn't matter if you compete with them or with the US sellers or sellers around the world, you have to be innovate and always be like thinking about your next move. And in my business, I also like to make my products very complicated to copy, whether that's with some bundles or some features that will create this high entry barrier. Um, yeah, that's very interesting. Now you mentioned the about the black hat tactics. Tactics. Do you have any like two or three that you can share for people that
Yeah.
because like you said, if you know what their attacks are, you can be more prepared and keep yourself protected, like you said.
Yeah, so I'm gonna share this article with you once again, so you can share it on the video description, so everyone can take a look.
Yeah.
And I this article where I explain how to identify this black hat. I also say pretty much how you can protect yourself. We go through everything that is going on. For example, when they take over your listing, or when they file false claims, or they try to take down your entire account, or they buy your products, or they leave negative reviews, and this kind of stuff. So we actually go in detail through each one of them. The funny thing is that, for example, we see that those kind of tactics are still used today in 2021. It didn't pretty much change a lot. Now, Amazon, if we have to be completely honest, is doing much better than they could do before. They are swiping off a huge amount of reviews, fake reviews, or potentially fake reviews. Someone says also that potentially Amazon could hide a number of reviews, because it would actually make it very unbalanced, between sellers who are just starting and other sellers who have millions of reviews, for example. So probably things would change, but it's pretty much the same. It's all about trying to mess with your listing, trying to get your sales, your buy box, this kind of thing. So these are the most common attacks, and
Like
we
false requests to Amazon, like infringement and stuff like that, are still like
yeah.
easy to do, you think?
Uh, it's relatively easy, let's say. Yeah, yeah. And also, for example, flagging a product as adult. Like
Oh yeah.
I've seen any kind of product flagged as adult that was definitely a black hat by a competitor.
Like
Even
unrelated keywords. So
yeah.
someone uploaded a flat file from Amazon account. I don't know who is that. It's probably from China, and they didn't really like give me the IP. But it's someone from there, and they just stuffed my listing with like drug-related keywords, which
Yeah.
was like 3 weeks down because of that.
Yeah, my God, it's terrible. Yeah, but sometimes it just takes as little as just trying to report the listing. It doesn't always happen, but it could be. It depends how you do it. Yeah, yeah, it happened, a few times already. Or so yeah, but it's interesting. But definitely, as a seller, you should know what's going on in the black hat world.
For sure, for sure. Do you think that if someone traveled to China, he can he can learn and be with Chinese sellers? There any meetups, any stuff like
Oh
that?
yeah, 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 yeah.
With
There is,
Chinese
there is.
sellers?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So in China, I mean, until before COVID, there used to be a lot of meetups, both only in Chinese and in English, and especially in Shenzhen. Shenzhen is like the Amazon seller city,
Yeah,
where I think the statistics until 2019 were that 40% of US sellers are based in China, or something like that, or more than 40%. And something like 40% of Chinese sellers are based in Shenzhen, or something like 400,000. I can't remember, but a huge amount of sellers are based in Shenzhen. So just because you live in Shenzhen, your Amazon game upgrades, for the Holy Spirit. So it's there's definitely events going on every week, both in Chinese and in English. So it's definitely, you would definitely learn a lot. And then you have all of these conferences, like for example the Global Sources Summit organized by Megla. You have the Global from Asia organized by Mike. I'm often speaking at both of them, and then you have different other events that are very, very interesting, and you can meet people from all over the world. So definitely, yeah, if you're planning to step up your Amazon game, you should consider having a trip to China.
For sure, for sure. Do you speak now Chinese already, or you didn't start learning?
I could speak when I was living there, but now I pretty much lost almost everything. Also, because in Hong Kong you don't speak Mandarin and people speak English, so yeah. How about you? You've been in China, right?
No, actually, I never been. I was supposed to go in March, but then the whole thing started and it was canceled. But I always say you don't have to be in China. But I think that, like you said, if you want to step up your game, whether that's creating better relationships with your suppliers, with the people you work there, and also like seeing your eyes how factories work, how your products are being manufactured. I think it's important if you look at it like as a long term, it's something you want to do, and that's what I plan to do. Like once they release here the vaccine to younger people, I'm gonna get it and just fly. And yeah, you said something that very interested. And about I have another question, actually not really related. You mentioned before that your background is like social media and SEO. I'm running an experiment with SEO right now, creating a very big profile of backlinks to my bestseller listings. So basically, I'm trying to create rankings for high volume keywords on Google, so I can get all this free traffic after the initial investment, of course.
Yeah.
And I want to test it out how it's actually changing the bottom line. And if we talk about things to elevate and be on top of your game, most of the sellers don't do it. So, and I'm sure Chinese sellers, some of them are doing it, but I don't think that a lot of them focusing on SEO externally. And you always have to be and find this new thing. But from your experience, is it easy to rank Amazon listings on Google? I know they have a great DR, so it's relatively easier because they have like a crazy link profile already. But
Yeah.
you're doing it for your clients or have experience with it?
Yeah. So this is something we don't push too much, but it definitely helps. There are different ways of doing it, and to give you a little hack, you can not only rank your listing, but also, for example, rank your Q&A, or better say, increment your Q&A content on the Amazon listing to have a better rank. So you can actually do what I used to call like a 360 circle, where you give signals from Amazon and from Google and from your backlink structure. So that really helps. And if and the cherry on the cake is social media. If you top it with social media that by default have a very high page rank, that really helps. So definitely, yes. It is relatively easy to rank on Google for, I would say it's very easy to rank on Google your Amazon listing for your brand name, definitely. And for your top keywords, definitely, yes. So that's already a good thing. But then that's how sometimes we don't do it, because that might conflict if you, for example, have a website, a store. If you have your own e-commerce store, then some of my clients, they don't want me to touch their SEO, or they don't want Amazon to be too visible, because if Amazon ranks before their e-commerce store, they would lose a lot of money from their e-commerce store, because most likely on Amazon the price is going to be cheaper. So if a customer finds you there, but it all depends on your strategy. If you want to focus only on Amazon, then definitely do it. Go for it. Focus. Definitely yes. If you are more e-commerce company, then be careful. Or maybe you can rank for some particular keywords on Amazon because you want to increase also your rank there. So Google and Amazon, you leave those keywords that are more relevant for Amazon, they're more competitive, you have more customers there, whatever. And then some other keywords you want to leave it for your e-commerce store. So that would also, make a lot of sense. So I would say, yeah, definitely, but try to see your strategy first.
Yeah, makes sense, makes sense. Um, Now the purpose of this call was kind of talking about product launches, but
Yeah.
we went through many other interesting topics. And but these days, any recommendation to what works, what is safe, how you guys launch new products using PPC giveaways? What is a good strategy that you recommend to maybe beginners?
Yeah, so that's also a very good question. Normally, we don't do a lot of giveaways. I'm not a strong believer of giveaways. I'm not a strong believer of chatbots. I tend to stick to to what works. We use a lot social media when we can. We use SEO from Google when we can, and we do definitely heavy use of PPC. We make it clear with the client that launching a product using PPC is not, it's going to be a little bit painful because your ACOS will go up, but as long as you see it in the long term and you care more about your total ACOS, then it makes sense. We I would say, as a new seller who's trying to launch product, or also as an experienced seller who wants to launch products, pay a lot of attention to the relevance score. You have to understand this. I did a bunch of webinars. They're all on YouTube. If you look for a relevance score with my name or with my company name, so Davide Nicolucci or We Are Growth Hack, you will find a lot. And there are some tools that can actually help you. So some people think that super URLs don't work or they are black hat. It's not like this. It depends what kind of super URL you do. We use Pixify. It works very well. It's not a black hat. It's not blocked by Amazon. It's completely safe. We've been using it since 2019. So it's 2 years now. And it definitely helped if you know what you're doing. I did a lot of, in-depth trainings all for free on YouTube. So you can check it out. It's quite long, like 45 minutes. And then we support with other tools to find different keywords, and we support with social media. So my suggestion would be, yeah, social media, ranking URLs if you can, if you want, and PPC definitely. And also, yeah, try to optimize your listing and try to find your niche. That's the most important thing. And I know that you gave a lot of good advices for that with listing optimization.
Yeah, I think like you have the best marketing off Amazon, in Amazon. If you don't have a great listing or photos or
Yeah.
copy, and of course the actual product, it's not gonna work. Um, I can see it in my products. Even I launched like in 2020 last year, I like 20 or 25 products, and you can see that even products that I think gonna be like a home run, gonna be like perfect, sometimes you just don't know. And my
Yeah.
success rate is like 60-70%, and 3 or 4 products out of each 10, I'm just like letting them go, selling out, and just move on. And
Yeah.
this year my focus is going to be more like monster products that sell like at least 200, 300, 400K a month. And
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear from you, how you can compete with, as a new seller, with a listing that have 50 or 60,000 reviews. The strategy, of course, should be different. You will lose a lot of money before you'll start making any. And any good advice or experience that you have with ranking those monster products?
Yeah, so the best advice here is try to understand who you want to compete with. My best advice would be, if you're starting from zero, don't even try to compete with those monster products because it wouldn't make any sense. Then it still depends. If you're coming from a big company who doesn't pretty much care about, investing, then yeah, go for that. You're going to lose a lot of money. But if you're a seller who's struggling to launch 5 products in 1 year or it doesn't know what to do, then don't do it. Try to focus on a smaller niche, try to focus on a different need of the customer, and try to put the attention on this need. So why this product? Why a customer should buy this product? What is this product? What kind of need this product is solving? Is what kind of problem is solving? So try to differentiate and put the focus on the added value of that product. But definitely it might be very, very risky trying to compete with the big ones in all cases. And you have the very obvious example of that when you're trying to do PPC. You're trying to bid on the same keywords, and it's going to cost you the value of your product. So with one click, you're already gone.
Yeah. What question do you, maybe you can share your experience? You dealt with many sellers. I always say that selling on Amazon or doing anything, any business, it's, I would say, like 70 or 80% is the mindset, is the head, and the how is like 20 or 30%. And what kind of advice you have to people to fix their mindset for success? Because sometimes you see people, they want something, but they're not really putting the work, or they're not really like knowing what is the next step, how they can learn more and just like be successful selling on Amazon.
I would actually say that the way you are approaching this business is probably one of the best ways. Like, don't get stuck in products just because you think they're gonna work. It wouldn't make the difference. I see a lot of sellers and a lot of my clients that, I mean, not a lot, but some that happens, especially not very big clients, not big sellers. They get stuck into this product. They always want to focus. I mean, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We tried already everything. You have to move on, like you said. So it's a business. It's not that you like this product, but not millions of customers will like it, or probably they can't see because you're not investing a lot of money, enough money. So this is the advice from me. Try to launch a lot of product, as many products as you can that would make sense for your store. So if you're selling electronics or home appliances or clothing, try to launch as many as you can. That's the best approach, because some might work, some might not work, and also it takes time. It takes a lot of time to see results. So be patient, and you have to invest your time and your money. I mean, it's the biggest marketplace, not in the world, but in the Western world. So it's going to be competitive. So you really have to. I mean, a lot of newbies ask me, "Hey, I have $5,000. I want to start selling on Amazon." Don't do that. Just go on a holiday or buy a piece of Bitcoin. Don't start on Amazon with $5,000.
Yeah, I actually think the opposite. I think that you could start with 5,000, but take in mind that you like most likely you will lose this 5,000. But
Yeah.
this is the money that you're going to invest in just getting and understanding how Amazon works, and then you'll need more money for sure. At least
Yeah.
1,000. But you
Yeah.
can start with cheap. It's harder and harder. Yeah, I agree. It's not that easy like before. Um, now, before we wrap it up, I do have a million more questions, but I want to talk more about the post that you
Yeah.
released about the Amazon predictions. What do you think, first of all, is the future for new sellers selling on Amazon 2021? It will be harder than previous years. They will need to come with a different approach, since we talked about like initial investment.
Yeah. So it's so funny because being in this business for 7 years now. I started in 2014. I've seen this question and the evolution of the answer, multiple times. And I can tell you, it is going to be harder, but you're going to have a bigger market. So you have to see it like this. You're going to have a smaller piece of the cake because there are more sellers, but the cake itself is larger. So you can still make a lot of money if you know what you're doing. So it's all the same, the same thing. It's all a circle. It all comes back to the fact that you have to do a good job selling on Amazon. So I would say yes, it's definitely more competitive. You have millions of sellers entering the market. I think only in 2018, I don't remember how many millions of sellers entered. Like probably 1 million new sellers entered Amazon in 2018 only. In the past year, I was reading the Market Polls report. We had less sellers entering the market, but the market size was expanding because of COVID, of course, and it's becoming more a dog eat dog scenario where the big fish eats the small fish, and the same thing is happening to the agencies. For example, now you have to compete more, you have to differentiate. Before, an agency could do sourcing and PPC and listing optimization. You can't do that now. You have to
Yeah. Be expert at it.
exactly, you have to be experts. So I'm an expert in ranking, you know. I Yeah, you're an expert in sourcing and probably, you know, something else. We can't do the same job, you know. So the Amazon full management from zero to hero doesn't exist anymore. And if it does exist, it's probably a huge company, because that you need a big team. But if you talk about, I don't know, in my company we have around 20 members, all remote. We couldn't do that, you know, because if you consider all the people that we need for copywriting and managing the accounts and all the languages, because we provide content in 10 different languages, then you already made half the team. So yeah, it's it yeah, I think you get the point. So say that in the future it's going to grow, your potential will grow, but you have to know what you're doing.
Yeah, it's like a couple of years already that people saying, and you see it that it's becoming. You see, first of all, the big sign for it is that you have all this money sitting by investors that are coming and buying businesses. That's a sign that the whole industry is going to be more professional, more competitive, and more money comes in. So, like you said, the bigger fish will eat the smaller fishes. So yeah, I 100% agree, and I see it like you see new product launches, like the level there, whether that's the listing or the PPC or the strategies, is much better than before. Like I said, I could talk with you for like 2 more hours. I think
Yeah.
that you've been one of the fun guests here. With I really enjoyed this call, and you're very knowledgeable, and I'm sure many people here will get ton of value, including myself. I got uh, look at different topics in a different way. So thank you for being guest here. Really
Thanks to you.
appreciate it. It was really big pleasure. I hope we can talk about some of the other questions in the future.
Yeah, definitely,
And we'll
definitely.
definitely link to the two posts you mentioned about how Chinese
Mm.
sellers operate and how you can protect yourself. I think that every seller should know about those things, because maybe you will not have problems normally, but it just takes one time that to create a big mess in your business.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
what is the website again? If you can share it with
yeah.
the audience, people want to
uh
learn about you.
Yeah, we are growthhack.com, and you can find me in every social media: LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Instagram is more private life. I share my other passions, but Facebook and LinkedIn is definitely good. And my website, so Davide Nicolucci, and we are growthhack.com. And yeah, so I mean, thank you very much for having me here. It's a pleasure. We talked about a lot of interesting things, I would say. And it's very nice for me to see that people still care about those topics right now. Like,
Yeah,
what's going on in the other part of the world. It's really interesting.
for
Thank you.
sure, for sure. Yeah, thank you again. And I'll put all the links down below, and hopefully we'll see you soon here again. I wish you really, you and your agency, success in 2021. And
Same here.
yeah, to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.